Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hiring Nowadays. My name is Alex.
And I'm Calvin.
And today we are up on it here again, talking about how the hiring world has changed and how companies can maybe improve the way they are hiring or working on their products. You know, it's hard out there, guys. Like, it's hard. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of things that you can do wrong that will maybe cost you your investment or your company's effort. So that's what we like to discuss here. Especially in this episode, we want to talk about a very important subject, which is product development and testing, and why it's important and how it's connected to hiring, especially how it has changed. You know, like nowadays startups really have it hard because, you know, not only looking for investment is super hard, but using it well is even harder. Like that's right. The thing. And when you're a company who's basically putting all their money behind their product, you better make sure it works and you better make sure you're doing it right. So that's where product development strategies and testing comes in. And how, to me, this connects to hiring is that the people who are building the product are the ones that are not gonna build it, but also will have to make this, you know, like I said, strategies to test it correctly, so that you finish your product. I want to start out with this real cool quote that you shared with me, Calvin. It's a quote by Reid Hoffman. It says, "If you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late." Let's go into that.
I love that quote because so many times, and I've talked to entrepreneurs and I've tried to even do this myself, and we get so wrapped in what is the perfect product. We conceptualize how this is going to work. We draw it out possibly. We think about, okay, this is exactly what the customers are going to want to have. And we jump, and I say jump strategically because there's a huge amount of stuff that we skip and just go right to the product. We go, okay, I want to develop this thing that has this feature and 20 different features. And we then start hiring a team. And we go to an IT consulting agency and we say, okay, I want to build this. And you know what their incentive is? To say they can build it. You know what the person that you hire's incentive is? To say, yes, I can build that. So if you talk to people that where their incentives are to take your money to build, they're going to say, yes, I can build it.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody that you talk to that is involved on launching a product, most likely their incentives are to say, yes, they can do it so that they can take your money. And we get so excited about this opportunity to build that we say, okay, let's build. But then we try to negotiate, like get 10% off or something, like we feel like we get a win. The problem is, and it happens and it's a sad story, it happens time and time again, that gets settled, the contracts get signed, they start building it, and you know what? More often than not, a founder goes and says, that's not what I wanted.
And now you're trapped.
And now you're trapped in trying to continually get your vision seen by people whose incentives lie in making sure that they draw out the contract as long as possible.
Oh, yeah. That's a very tricky, and it's like it sounds like it would suck. So, and going back to like our experience in the matter, or like how we as recruiters, you know, we help people hire. I feel like, yeah, a lot of people will just say yes to any job, but, you know, finding like someone that is passionate about what you're trying to build, that's the key. Or someone who actually understands what you're trying to build. You know, there's people who will, like I said again, like just say yes, not because of the passion behind your project, but just like, oh yeah, I know how to code that. Yeah. Oh, I guess I could put an AI feature in there, but it's not like that passion's not there. And sometimes because of the misunderstanding of this passion, that's why sometimes products don't end up like the CEO wanted it to.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Like it's, I mean, I would not want to be in that position ever.
There's the product's not what you want, or you spend a lot of money. Speaking of no's, I spoke with a potential client the other day, and they wanted to hire this entire team. And I actually challenged them, and maybe my recruitment team will hear this later and get mad at me. But I actually told them that they're about 2 to 3 months too early to start working with us. Granted, they did test out their MVP, but they didn't have enough user feedback.
But that's great, man. That's ethical. You know, that's ethic, moral. That's good.
And it's important that as people, as humans, we do this because this person is going to go through the efforts to try to hire. And yeah, they could have hired people now. But in fact, I wanted to make sure that when they were ready to hire, they weren't going to have to fire in 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's going back to the drawing board. Like
Yeah.
it's like planning ahead what you want to do, not just go through with the idea, oh, let's build it now, but planning it through. And that's smart hiring. Again, like that's something we talk about a lot. That's being smart about hiring. Okay, you want to do this, but is it time to do it? Go back to the drawing board, like try to think about it, and then bring the team.
Yeah, and another anecdotal story to that is we did sign a deal with somebody, and they did go through our recruitment process, but our recruiters pushed the company hard on what they wanted to hire. And they gave them what they thought they wanted to hire and gave them real numbers of what would happen. And this company realized that they weren't ready to hire because we were saying, okay, this person's culture is like they are going to be a good team lead. They're going to build out your architecture. They're going to cost like 7 to 10. I don't remember if it was 7, 8, somewhere between $7,000-$10,000 a month. Mm-hmm. It was within their budget. They were ready to spend up to 10, 11,000. But then we pushed them on like, okay, the developer even asked, what do you want me to build out? And the things that they were trying to describe, they didn't need that type of person. Oh. And we weren't trying to encourage them not to hire that person or even to hire someone that was more junior. But in fact, we were challenging the person on if they thought about their idea enough. I even was like, hey, maybe we should work out a partnership where we use your product a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it came out a month or two into it. I think it was only a month. And they realized that they didn't need to hire yet. And they actually had to go back to their product and figure out what features they needed to add or what features they should focus on building in order to have a better MVP.
And you know what that's called? Prototyping.
Prototyping.
I mean, it's important. I mean, yeah, you see, and again, like talking and going back of how hard companies or startups have it nowadays, like each decision you make counts big time. Mm-hmm. So like, especially if you're working on something that I bet you're passionate about, like this big project or this big idea that you want to go through. The idea is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, I mean, and that's the thing that people will, when you build a product, that's what or your users are gonna interact to. But they miss the whole process and how important this process is. I mean, that's demystifying a little bit what creating a product is as well, you know, because it's a process. I mean, I love the movie Moneyball. It's like one of my favorite movies in the world. And basically what I love about it is that, yeah, I mean, sometimes we want to go so fast at trying to build or reach our goals and stuff like that. But we fail to understand that life is a process, man. You need to go slow to make the right decisions, especially if you're looking to hire your team for developing this product and then mid building it or whatever, you realize, oh, I guess like this thing I wanted to make wasn't as important as this other thing. But then maybe half of your team already was hired for that purpose. So you're losing time.
Yeah.
You're losing time, you're losing money, and you need to be smarter when you hire. I mean, yeah.
And to go deeper into that, like if you look at Moneyball, prior to that, the statistics that was brought up, everybody looked at home runs, batting average, and they didn't really understand. They thought those were the things that were important to a baseball player. Not until they actually looked at the numbers, looked at the product of baseball, and saw, okay, batting average is not as important as people thought. On base percentage was more important. Stolen bases less important because the risk that was involved. Batting average, essentially all you're looking for is whether someone gets on base or not. Slugging percentage actually calculates the total bases someone gets on average. So it's really important to look at your product and go, okay, what are the possible features that are going to generate enough traction? What's going to actually find me the success? If I launch a product with 30 different features and find that perfect product, I don't know of those 30 which is going to generate success. If I launch one product at a time at 2 to 4 week intervals to see if that's going to get traction or not, that might show me whether that feature is good or not. Or, as we were saying earlier, prototyping. We launch a prototype earlier, and I test that out on the market to see if that's going to be something good or not. Mm-hmm. Like a prototype is going to cost me a lot less than what building a new feature will be. And yeah, if that prototype proves the hypothesis, yeah, I might have wasted money on the prototype, but if it disproves it, I just saved myself a lot of money.
Yeah, and it's the smart way. I mean, just listen to this heartbreaking data. So the Standish Group's Chaos Report found that 31.1% of projects will be canceled before they ever get completed, and total waste on unsuccessful IT projects will represent 66% of total investment. I mean, that's just heartbreaking. I mean,
a lot of failure out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're all gonna try, right? We come to this life to give our best and stuff, but what we're always trying to say is that you have to always review each step especially when hiring, right? We focus on hiring always, but like especially when you're trying to build someone and it involves people, you need to be smart on who are you bringing to the team and how important they are going to be. So yeah, so get rid of that AI specialist for now. Like for now, I mean, we know everyone wants to have a AI now, but like think about it in other terms, not about like what's popular right now. Think about it from more of your passion of the project. Where does the passion of your project comes from on what you're trying to build, or the goal your company is trying to maybe reach, right? Think on those terms and always be like smarter when you're trying to build. I mean, don't skip steps. Don't skip steps, especially talking about prototyping. Try to be, I don't know, like I wanted to make like a comparison with a character, but yeah, basically Moneyball it. Yeah, dudes, like go for it. It's important to test everything you're making it, and testing is not just done with the final product. Testing is also done while you are building it, and I feel that's the way to do it. Definitely. I don't know, you got any last 2 cents to give advice to people trying to build stuff? Like,
I would say think lean, right? Look at the product you're building, the idea you want to build, and go lean. Who are the people that are going to use it? Test it out with them, then launch it. Beta, whatever it has that you need to do, get those user reviews in and see if the idea that you want to actually build is worthwhile, because you're going to, if you raise money from friends and family to build this, maybe it's not a lot, maybe it's 25 to 50,000, but that's still friends and family money. Now, if you raise 300,000 from angels, they don't give this money out because they like you. They give this money because they want to make money. They're expecting on that 300,000 to make 30 million. So you have to really put that money where it counts and just building a product, because they do think your idea is good, or else they wouldn't have given you money. So it's the opportunity. That's the job of the founder, to do what it takes to make sure that that 300,000 turns into 30 million. So really think about that as you go through the building of the product and throughout the testing process.
Yeah, they say all roads lead to Rome, but you still gotta walk them. So walk them smart. So thank you guys. This has been another episode of Hiring Nowadays, giving you the best tips for building products, especially when hiring is involved in the process. Again, my name is Alex.
I'm Calvin.
And it's been a pleasure to talk to you. See you next time.
Ciao.